This episode of Real Garbage is brought to you by music and how it just takes you back to a random year.
This episode of Real Garbage is also brought to you by the Trollolololo guy.
This is Real Garbage.
I hate this couch.
Yeah?
I hate it. It's not even mine. It's Blake's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm storing it here for him, essentially. I have worn it right down. I got boards underneath it. The cushions they're just not comfortable. It's not a comfortable couch.
Which is funny because it deceivingly looks comfortable.
That's what I thought. When I first started sitting on this thing at his place, I was like, oh, this is a great couch. And now I'm like, no, this couch sucks.
This is a shitty couch. Blake, take it back.
That one's pretty bad, too. I got that from a thrift shop.
Oh.
I actually paid $120 for that couch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's not worth it. Get ripped off. Oh. What's going on? What's up?
Not a whole lot. Beautiful day.
It is.
Beautiful time.
I went to the grocery store today. Mm-hmm. People, I don't like how freaked out people are of each other anymore.
I know. It is
I don't know
wild.
Why I said anymore. That didn't make any sense. I just don't. I hate when people see you in an aisle and they're like, oh, they freak out. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm a fucking human.
Like you're a poltergeist.
Yeah, there's no difference. I'm not sick. I'm not sitting here coughing all over the place.
Yeah, it would be one thing if you were in the store and you were showing symptoms of being ill of any kind,
if you
not even COVID.
You look like the guy in the back of the room in a zombie movie. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And you're pale and sweaty.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
But if you look like a normal person and you're just walking around, living your life, trying to buy some apples, and people are treating you like that, it's really frustrating.
It's just really sad. It really is like that. So many people, because of the way this was handled in a lot of parts of the world and the way it was blown out of proportion for what it is, are just like, oh my God, we can never touch another person. We can't shake hands ever. We're never gonna hug each other again. I'm like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm over it already. I'm like, if I get sick, I get sick. I don't care. I've had this conversation with a few people. Everybody's going to die eventually. As shitty as that sounds, we can't keep everyone confined and away from this because we were talking about it earlier. Our immune systems are going to get way too weak.
Yeah.
And then something else is going to come along and just destroy us. Like a flu will kill you.
Yeah.
If you don't go outside for 3 months at a time.
And you're constantly stripping away that bacteria with sanitizer.
Yeah. It's like taking antibiotics for a long time. You need to take probiotics to get your good bacteria back up. I'm a doctor. I know this stuff.
MD, Jeff Olarnik.
Medical doctor.
Medical doctor.
I'm just watching that.
Got my degree online.
Just watching History 101 on Netflix. And I watched the one on plastic, and it just...
Is it depressing?
It is.
Oh,
it's really depressing. It's because it's only 22 minutes long. There's nothing you haven't seen before. I watched the one called The Plastic Ocean, I think it was. That one was fucked up. They're like cutting open birds, and the birds are just full of 80% plastic. They say that even we are full of microplastics.
Probably.
You probably eat the equivalent. What do they say? They figure you eat the equivalent of a credit card a week. Yeah, figure that one out.
I have my retainers in right now, and I don't want them in anymore.
Yeah, that's just soaking. I had a retainer for 4 years, even longer than that, actually. And I'm sure it just soaks into your bloodstream all the time.
Probably.
It can't be good for us. I got plastic on my wrist. Well, I don't know if that's...
Plastic on
plastic.
my wrist.
What is that?
Plastic on my wrist.
Oh, a scrunchie? Oh,
yeah.
Wait. Oh, yeah, your Fitbit. Oh, you watch.
Watch
Samsung.
buddies. Yeah, what was I gonna say? One place I do not want to catch myself right now, though, is the gym.
Oh, fuck no.
Just thinking about being around really sweaty people who could be sick, I'm like, get your bodily fluids away.
Well, just think of how much liquid is coming out of someone's mouth. Some of those big power lifters that are just... blasting out every single rep. Like if you could just visualize, if you could see it visually what was coming out.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'm not stepping into a gym
Nope.
for a long time. I might go to the pub for wings here pretty soon. But I was saying to you earlier that because so many people are being dicks about everything reopening, if I hear somebody being a piece of shit to somebody working at the pub, I'm going to fucking let them have it.
Yeah.
I am not going to stand by and just be like, yeah, you have every right to be a dick. No, you
No.
don't. If you're going to be a dick, stay home.
Yeah.
Just stay home. You don't need to be out.
No, if you're not comfortable going out, that's fine. Nobody's forcing you to go out and nobody's forcing you to stay home anymore. But if you're going to go out when you're uncomfortable with it just to, get an escape from your house and then treat the people like shit who are putting their lives at risk and like working, no.
Yeah.
No, go for a walk by the beach instead if you want to get out of your house but you're not comfortable being around.
I just don't understand the mentality of the people that are going out and being dicks because, like, be thankful. Be thankful that you're not being forced to be confined in your house.
Yeah.
You can go out. Understand that everyone else has been dealing with the same shit, and now people in like restaurants and bars are already stressed enough going back to work, having to wear masks and sanitize everything, and then you come in and go, "Nah, you're blah blah blah. I'm not happy with this and this and this." Well, then fuck you.
Yeah.
I wish there was something in the. I think you can just be honest and with people in the service industry. You could.
Wish.
No, you could, but it all comes down to what the management says.
Yeah.
Because let's say we open a bar, and in that bar we put on the wall, we say, we
reserve the right.
We reserve the right to be honest with our customers.
Yeah.
And then if somebody's being a piece of shit, you could just say, listen, fuck you. Don't ever come back. And I don't give a shit if you write a bad review. You knew what you were walking into. Yeah. You're not going to treat my customers like crap. Or my customers, my employees like crap. So you're going to come in and be a dick. We're going to be dicks right back.
Yeah.
That's like, there's a place like that. In
Restaurant Dicks in Vegas.
I went there once.
Me too. It was
we were
great.
We were in San Diego. I'm like, this is awesome.
I love it.
You guys were dicks.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
So I like that. I wish there's been so many times when I've been bartending or serving where this is what I want to see.
You're like, I'm about to go off.
Yeah. But there's always that fear of like, oh man, it's going to look bad on management. It's like, fuck that. It should be like, no, your manager should walk up to you and go, what happened? What'd they say? They said this. And what'd you say? You said that. Perfect. That's fine. That's fair.
Yeah.
You're being a dick, customer. And you want to say anything else, you can get the fuck out of here. But it's not the world we live in.
Nope.
It's kind of sad.
The customer's always right.
Oh my God. Customer's always an idiot. Unless it's us and we're customers.
Yeah.
Then
we're right.
We know what's up. Oh, man. Oh, I harvested a bunch of my kale yesterday.
Ooh.
Pretty awesome. They're huge. My lettuce is gigantic. I have to figure out what to do with basil. Apparently, you can just put it on pizza.
Oh.
Just full leaves of basil. I'm like, I'm just going to try and eat a leaf of basil and see what happens. See what it tastes like. Might make basil syrup.
Basil syrup?
Syrup. Like simple syrup.
Oh.
Infused.
I was thinking of
simple
pancake syrup.
No. Oh my God. I made a Dutch baby for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
You ever had one?
No.
It's fantastic. You need a cast iron pan.
Sounds so good.
It's just egg and flour and milk and butter and vanilla.
Yum.
That's pretty much it.
One thing I'm so looking forward to now that things are slowly opening is breakfast at my favorite breakfast place.
Where?
3rd Street in Sydney. I have been wanting a Benny from there for 2 months. I wanted to go to 3rd Street on my birthday in March, but everyone was ordered to be in their houses 3 days before my birthday and everything shut down. So I've been patiently waiting for my birthday gift to myself.
Eggs Benny.
I was thinking about it on the drive here. It's so wild that we are 5 months into 2020. 5 out of 12. We're just 5 months in. And January, like, the helicopter crash with Kobe happened. February, Australia was on fire.
That's right.
Australia was also on fire in January too. March, COVID. And we've been shut down for April, May. And I'm just like waiting on bated breath. What the fuck's next? What's next?
Who knows? If the Amazon keeps burning, then then we're going to see a lot more shit.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to strengthen our immune systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Honestly, I could see 2020 ending one of two ways. One, it ends great. We all have a very happy, Merry Christmas. We have a snowy Christmas, which underlying it isn't that great because climate change. But a white Christmas would make everyone happy. Serotonin would go. You'd be all warm and tingly. Or, sorry, I got distracted by a bird.
It happens. that and squirrels.
Yeah. Or January comes around, or December comes around, and we're all getting ready for Christmas. And then the world gets attacked by a bunch of monsters.
I was going to say natural disasters or kaiju.
Kaiju.
From Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah. You got to save Pacific Rim OG for Tyler.
So I read a fact about, while I was waiting for you to come over, I read a fact about this movie. Mm-hmm. They say that Gypsy Danger from the first one stood at 288 feet tall, weighed over 7,000 tons. Mm-hmm. Now, in this movie, the Jaegers are like way bigger than Gypsy Danger.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, which would, let's say they're 400 feet tall and 12,000 tons. How the hell do they throw spin kicks, do jump kicks,
I know,
and roll and jump? Like they're not rockets going off. These things aren't spring loaded with muscle. Like it just defies physics.
I know. And the fact that there are these teeny tiny people in the huge bodies and their mind melded together and they're like throwing simultaneous kicks and all synced up. And
man, like what if we don't see any of the actual training, the physical training for these
not
Jaeger
in
pilots?
This one.
No.
Nope.
And
we don't see anything substantial in this one. That's why it was on my list. Because Pacific Rim, we can get into that debate later when your imaginary person on your side is with you. And when
yes,
Tyler's
I will have
here.
someone. I will have someone sitting here.
But Pacific Rim, it had substance. You saw people training. They explained drifting, what it was. They explained kaiju because the war was like right in the thick of it. This one, it had the mentality of, yeah, I remember everything that happened in the last movie. Well, that was 10 years ago. The war is over. Everything's hunky-dory. We have even bigger robots now, but just for like display kind of because the war is over.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of kids involved now. They're in the training program. We're not going to show the kids getting ready for it, but by the end of the movie, we're going to show all the kids in their own Jaegers fighting together.
Zero training, zero preparation.
Yeah.
They're just great Jaeger pilots.
Yeah, right.
I didn't understand why 10 years later, there's still a Jaeger program. Mm-hmm. They're still pumping billions of dollars into it, obviously, because these things are gigantic.
Yeah. The backstory behind it, which they touch on very briefly, when Scott Eastwood's character is talking to John Boyega's character, and John Boyega's, saying, "We won. That's it. Get over it. Stop thinking about it." And Scott Eastwood's character is like, "But we don't know why they attacked."
Is it Lambert?
Yeah, Nate Lambert.
Yeah, Nate and Jake.
Yeah. So Nate is saying, we don't know why they attacked. We don't know what their purpose was. They didn't wipe all of us out, so you can't rule out that they're not coming back.
Yeah.
Which is why they kept the Jaeger program. But to put that much money into it, especially when at the beginning of the movie, you see impoverished cities still not rebuilt.
Yeah. There's dead kaiju bodies still. Mm-hmm. Giant skeletons of kaiju laying around. I'm like, why in 10 years haven't you cleaned that up and rebuilt? But he's like, some of the coastal cities survived, others didn't. I'm like,
rebuild them.
You don't just leave the town ruined after a hurricane.
And also, what coastal city is that? That was okay with just being skipped over the kaiju cleanup.
Like that seemed that's a whole big plot hole they did not try to fill at all.
No,
it's like this doesn't make any sense, guys.
No.
And this is 2035. It's 2035 at this point. There should be however many more billion people on the planet.
15 years from now.
Yes, because the other one was in 2025. That's when it took place.
Wow.
Yeah, this is 10 years after the...
Wow.
Yeah, in 2035. So 2035, let's just say there's almost 8 billion people on the planet right now.
That's fair.
15 more years, there's probably going to be another 2-3 billion.
Unless we're all dead.
Well, yeah, because this is also, if you want to get into the whole global warming shit, around the meridian's going to be unlivable because it's going to get too hot.
Yeah.
And then you got climate refugees pushing north and south, so that's just going to overload the cities. They're not rebuilding these cities. It's like, well, where are these people living?
Yeah.
Are you just pushing them out into the forest and go nuts? But I digress. Let's get into this. So yeah, I love we get the recap of what happened. And so this is like, if you haven't seen the first one and you want to watch this movie, well, we better just give you the first 5 minutes of the movie to make sure you're on the right page. They just got to spoon feed you this. Because like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that watch this going like, I haven't seen the first one. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, in the first one, I haven't watched it in a while, but I don't remember a point where Idris Elba's character says he has a son.
He does not. I looked it up too, and it was never mentioned.
So he just acts like Mako Mori is his daughter. He never mentions his son. That's a big disappointment to him.
Yeah, because like he only talks about Mako, his adopted daughter. Does not mention his flesh and blood son Jake, who is part of the Jaeger program.
Yeah.
So like how old is he in this? He's got to be 22, 23, or is he like...
I don't know.
Or is he... Because the rest of the cadets look like they're 15.
Yeah, because he said like a week after he got kicked out of the Jaeger program, his dad died. So maybe, let's say for argument's sake, he's 25.
His dad died in the first movie.
Yeah.
He sacrificed himself. So he was part of the Jaeger program 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's no mention of him. Like, why? Why wouldn't his Idris Elba be like, my son was in the Jaeger program and, he dropped out.
Yeah.
Should have been at least a mention of him. So I found that really, like, why?
It's a classic case of when Guillermo del Toro made Pacific Rim. One thing I've noticed about Guillermo del Toro's movies, at least a lot of them, is he makes standalone movies. He doesn't really...
Because he did Pan's Labyrinth.
Yes.
Right? I'm trying to download that. I can't find it anywhere.
I fucking love it. If I can find my DVD copy. Nope.
Nope. Yeah, I can't watch it. I don't even have there's no slot on this thing either. It's weird.
But yeah, Guillermo del Toro, he puts 100% into his movies. And sometimes, like at the end of Pacific Rim, there was a little tie-in in case it got picked up for a sequel. But you could tell when he made Pacific Rim, when he directed it and wrote it and produced it, he wasn't planning ahead. He was solely focusing on this movie. Whereas Pacific Rim 2, it was only, I think, written partially by Guillermo del Toro.
He produced it too.
He just didn't direct it, which you can tell immediately.
It's a big difference.
Yeah. So this one, I feel like, was directed and partly written and produced with the sequel in mind.
They shouldn't. They should just...
No!
They should just leave it.
I feel like if you're making a movie and throughout that movie making process, you're already planning for a sequel, that seals your fate that your movie's going to be bad.
Well, yeah, because that happened with one before. Was it The Last Witch Hunter?
Yes.
Yes,
with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, because at the end, it's Charles Dance is like, ha, 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 so the game is on.
Oh, no, that's Dracula.
Oh, yeah, Dracula Untold.
But they were planning that, too. Yeah. They were also, if you watch Warcraft, they were planning on a sequel for Warcraft, and they're probably not going to get it. Just if you're planning a sequel that's not part of your, like, 3-system plan, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
And look at Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
Tolkien had his books. Peter Jackson filmed the movies back to back to back for continuity. And he had a meticulous, thought-out plan. He didn't start Fellowship and think, oh, this might
have a sequel.
This might let me do 2 Towers. Shit. And then he'd have to go and retcon or add stuff in the story of the Fellowship to make 2 Towers make sense.
Yeah.
This is what they had to do. They were like, shit, Charlie Hunnam doesn't want to come back. Idris Elba, we killed him. Mako, the girl who played Mako Mori, wants to come back, but she's only back for half an hour. We have to come up with a whole new cast.
Just make up a story. Oh, yeah, Idris Elba had a son. We'll just say he was in the Jaeger program. Nobody will pick up on that.
Nobody will fucking call us out on it. Yeah.
So we're introduced to Jake at the beginning. He is telling his story about how, they decommissioned Jaegers and you can steal parts
won
and
the war.
yeah, make a lot of money. So we meet him. He's stealing parts from Jaegers. I found right off the bat, noticing because they're in this Jaeger and he's got like the criminals with him, which seems really weird that you would bring the criminals with you to steal parts.
Yeah.
Just because they got guns and they're like, nice try. You've ripped everybody else off. We're going to get you too. Notice how, because that Jaeger had been there for a while, right?
Yeah.
Not a speck of dust.
No.
Not a speck of dust in that
No.
thing.
Even if people were constantly raiding the Jaeger and trying to strip it for parts, or even if it was being patrolled for maybe the first 5 years, maybe the first 7 years by the Pacific Police, whatever, they wouldn't be meticulously cleaning it.
No, because he slides down one part of it and there's no dirt trail behind him. There's no dust on him. I'm like, what? Come on. I'm just being real picky here.
Yep.
But we meet Amara.
Yes.
So he chases Amara down.
Amara Namari.
Amara Namari. Interesting name for a very
They
white
really
girl.
tried.
She built a Jaeger by herself.
That, I will not lie, when her little Jaeger scrapper was revealed, I was like, fuck yeah.
Okay. I will agree. It's cool. It's pretty neat. But she's like 5'2", 110 pounds, maybe. How could she physically build a Jaeger?
Yeah.
Like
She'd need a harness and like a self-pulley system.
she would need, like, that thing hers is not very big, but it's at least 60 or 70 feet tall.
Oh, totally.
It's big.
Yeah.
Those parts weigh hundreds or thousands of pounds. It's physically impossible for her.
And she's by herself.
Yes, she's by herself and she's like 13.
Yeah.
It would take, I know people who've built cars on their own by themselves. 5 years to build a fucking car.
Mm-hmm. And she can't have been building it for 10 years because she would have been, see, didn't think about this. That's another inconsistency. Skipping forward when she mind melds and drifts with someone. They see
memory.
her. Yeah, she has the memory of her and her family on the bridge when the kaijus first attacked. And in that, she looked probably 10.
Yeah, I was like 8 or 10.
Yeah. And then in this movie, I don't know her age, but it seems like she's 13 or 14. There's no way she's older than that. But the war was 10 years ago, so you would have been 3 or 4. Like, what? The timeline? They did a good job at setting up, this is where it's taking place, and it's 10 years after the war. Not many shitty movies on our podcast even give us the kindness of telling us when and where it's happening.
Like, thank you for that, but you're wrong.
Yeah, but the timeline is so spotty for her, but not for John Boyega's character, because he's probably like 25. So 10 years ago, he'd be 15 in the Jaeger program.
Yeah, so that was that kind of irked me.
Yeah.
So they get
Arrested.
arrested. Well, they're getting chased by.
Oh yeah, by
this Jaeger. The Jaeger that's chasing them looks like it's 500 feet tall.
Yeah.
Or bigger than that. The
And-
thing is massive.
And oh god, what's it called? Ajax? Ninja Ajax or
I
some
can't
shit.
remember.
He has a lot of patience. He just is
He's
constantly telling them to power
Come on,
down.
guys. Seriously.
Yeah.
There's even a point where he goes, seriously?
Yeah.
Like, it's so cheesy. And then she's, again, rolling. A 60-foot tall, however many ton.
And it's armadillo tucked in itself.
Yeah. And it's rolling, and it's going faster than it was when it was running.
Yeah.
That, to me, just defies all logic.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense. But yeah, they get arrested. So this is like, and everything in this movie goes, it's a long movie. It's an hour and 50-some minutes.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours with the credits.
Yeah, and everything just clips along real quick. Like, okay, they're arrested, boom, and then they get approached, and it's like, you're gonna come be a trainer, and you're gonna come work with us, or you're gonna go to jail. All right, cool, boom, bam, they're on the military base immediately.
It's so quickly paced and not in a good way.
No, because we meet Scott Eastwood's character here right away.
Night.
I feel like he's a budget Chris Evans. That's what he looks like to me.
Side note, can we just talk about how much Scott Eastwood looks like his dad?
I don't think he looks a ton like him.
Oh, I do.
Really?
I've never seen his mom, but when I first saw him in, I think it was one of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
I had no idea who he was, but I was like, that motherfucker's related to Clint Eastwood. I bet my life on it.
I didn't get that. I don't look at him and go, that's Clint Eastwood's son. I recognize him because I know he's Scott Eastwood, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Clint Eastwood's son. I know that guy.
No, that face. He has the same like. What is
I just
the
picture.
Get off my lawn.
That's the only thing I associate Clint Eastwood with now.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn. Just growling, staring at his yard. I was like, what was that, El Torino?
Yes.
That was a good movie.
I was trying to think of the name. I almost said Guantanamo, and I was like, that's not it.
So they get right into, we do see some training. This simulator is the only training we see them do.
Yeah.
And this I find pretty funny. Like, Scott Eastwood is like, as soon as Amara, she gets put in there with somebody, she's never drifted with this guy before, so they don't even know if they're drift compatible or not.
Any time.
Yeah, she's only run her Jaeger by herself. So he throws her in the simulation with some stranger drifting, and then they get their asses kicked, and he's like, well, I thought you were some big hotshot pilot, but it doesn't look that way.
Yeah.
What kind of instructor are you?
And then to top it all off, Jake says, even advanced pilots have a hard time with that. What the fuck?
But my first thought would be, hey, maybe you and this person aren't good drift partners. Let's try you with someone else. Let's try you with everybody and maybe explain to you what drifting is and how to handle it. Because later on, she drifts with Jake.
No problem.
Well, no, she does have a problem. She gets stuck in the memory.
Later
no, she gets stuck in the memory.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't even know how to drift. So what are you doing chucking her in there right off the bat? Because in the first one, there's a couple, like him and Mako.
They made such a big deal about drifting compatible. That has always and will always be my biggest argument against this movie, is because in Pacific Rim OG, they made such a big stink about expressing just how complicated drifting is and how complicated it is to find a partner, let alone in Charlie Hunnam's situation, him and his brother, but then he lost his brother, and then him and Mako being able to drift. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
And now here it's like, oh, you drift. Fuck, everyone drifts.
Yeah.
And I even... Everyone drift.
But yeah,
if
that
you
just
wanna be a Jaeger drifter, come on, let's go. Get in and pilot kaiju.
it just seemed so. They're just like, well, whatever. It wasn't a big problem at all.
No, and I even at this point I was reminded of the drifting debacle, and I looked up the wiki on drifting, and so break down. It's a mind melding between two people that shares memories, instincts, and emotions. So you're exactly on the same page. And it's usually between two people who have a strong bond of trust.
Well, yeah, because Charlie Hunnam was his brother first.
Yeah. And the right side of the Jaeger is considered the dominant side. So throughout this whole movie, Jake Pentecost is on the right side, even though he's been out of the program forever, and Nate has been in it and is the top ranger, and he's on the submissive side. Are you fucking kidding?
Well, maybe he just knew that Jake was better.
Maybe.
Probably.
But you know how in the first one, they don't really say it in this one, which is another stupid thing, but when Charlie and Mako are drifting in the first one and Mako gets caught in a memory and Charlie's like, don't chase the rabbit, blah, blah, blah. Rabbit stands for Random Access Brain Impulse Trigger.
It actually is an acronym for something? Wow.
Yeah. So, and the main reason why people aren't able to drift with each other is from from being embarrassed about a sexual activity.
There is no way I would drift with anybody.
No.
Fuck no. There's a part in this movie where Jake goes like, my dad died after I got to the program. I thought I'd be able to be in a Jaeger with him and drift with him. I'm like, why the hell would you want to drift with your dad?
Yeah, no.
Why would you want to drift with anybody that you know?
No.
I wouldn't want to see what he had seen.
No.
I want to see my parents banging.
You don't want your parents seeing you banging.
No.
No.
There's no fucking way. Nope. So that right there, I'm like, nah, I don't want to be part of the program.
Especially because it accesses your memories and emotions. Like, you drifting with someone and you get just overrun by all the shitty things that happen to them and vice versa. No.
It seems like a very odd way of running. Like they spend so much money on the technology behind these Jaegers.
But it has two people.
Yeah, why the complicated way of operating it?
I know.
It's like, this is the only way we could figure it out. I don't think so. Because in this one, you've got drones.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty cool idea. You have drone Jaegers. So right there, you've already advanced past what you've created before. Maybe that was the first thing they thought of, but I would assume that they would have a team of scientists trying to figure out a better way of operating these Jaegers.
Yeah, because you're putting people at risk so often.
Well, and it just seems odd to have two people in one thing. The neural load's too much. Well, then fucking figure out a way to drop the neural load down or adapt it different. But get an adapter to drop the neural load down to a amount that a human could handle. Like there has to be. You've created giant robots.
Yeah.
You can create the technology to make them easier to operate.
Yeah.
I would think.
I just think it's so weird that the main thing that prevents people from being drifting compatible is embarrassment from a sexual experience.
Well, that's people are embarrassed about all that shit in real life.
No, I know, but like it's so interesting that this Jaeger program is filled with like 13-year-olds and older, and like when I read that and I saw like Amara not being able to drift with this guy, I'm like, do you have a crush on him? Do you like masturbate to him? Why can't you drift? Because the wiki says you're embarrassed sexually.
Yeah,
I need that backstory.
That's the R-rated version.
Yeah.
This is what really
Pacific
happened.
Rim job.
So I had to make a note of this, that 24 minutes in, and this is what this movie is all about. It's just the redemption story of Jake.
Yep.
24 minutes in, he's like, it's too bad, Jake. You were really good. Walks away, and I'm like, there it is. The seed's planted in his brain 24 minutes in.
And can we just address the fucking dialogue? Don't mess with my toppins. What are you
toppins?
Remember he's making that in the scene where he's like, you could have been great.
His toppings.
His ice cream toppings.
When he's like, toppings are in the fridge. Okay, cool. He's just making ice cream. It just seemed like Jake's character was just trying to be like a Ryan Reynolds through this whole thing.
Yeah.
He was all right. But yeah, the dialogue, the writing was just trash.
No.
Garbage. But I had watched this years ago when it came out. And then I rewatched it. I remember Charlie Day being the bad guy. And I was like, oh, they actually, and I will agree with.
In the first one?
No, in this one, he's the bad guy. He's the villain.
Yeah.
Because he's been taken over and brainwashed by the kaiju.
He's been more,
Yeah, which is kind of cool. And then, so I did think that Charlie Day did a great job.
Oh, yep.
In this movie, just coming from like his comedic background and then coming into something like this, still being a bit comedic, but also being kind of serious.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, I guess I wasn't paying attention to it the first time I saw it because I was just rolling my eyes most of the time, that I didn't realize that he had been like basically possessed by the kaiju. So watching that again now, I was like, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not really him; it's the kaiju,
It's
and
the
his actual
precursors.
personality is sort of subdued by it.
Yeah. It was very The Exorcist, like Reagan and
Yeah. So I really did enjoy that. It was pretty cool.
and him showing that diversity and showing that seriousness and villainness along with his lighter side, like just proves he's versatile.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great opportunity for him to play a bigger role in the film, which was cool. So now we go to some protest coverage because they're introducing the drones.
And people are like,
there's kaiju worshippers?
yeah, it's like kaiju PETA.
Which
These monsters, but honestly, if that happened in real life, I would bet my bottom dollar that people would be like, don't be mean to the kaijus. Treat them with respect. Bitch, they just came in and destroyed the 7 wonders of the world and killed so many people. And you're thinking, no.
See, those people would
animals.
They would protest until a kaiju came walking through their town.
Yeah, and then they'd
destroyed
be like,
everything
kill
around.
it!
Yeah, fuck these things.
Where's Gypsy Danger?
I had to make a note of that, like kaiju worshippers. Like,
Yep. Like PETA, except it'd be Kita. No. people ethically treating kaijus. Pitka.
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 Petka.
Pekka.
So then now we see, oh my God. So in this one, it was a little more, I wrote down robot MMA.
Yes.
Because in the first one, okay, it's believable. They're big, they're clunky, they're lumbering.
Yeah.
And they're throwing like
and they have
slow
so
motion
many
punches.
Yeah, and they have so many weapons in the first one. I noticed that too. This one only Gypsy Avenger only had the gravity doo-doo and the swords.
I felt like there was more weapons in this one.
No.
Gypsy Danger didn't have the sword until the end.
Yeah, but Gypsy Danger had friggin' elbow cannons. They were way better at fighting, like fisticuffs.
I guess.
This one, it was just like, here's my sword. Oh, it broke. Here's my sword again. Oh, it broke. Doesn't matter.
Well, the one had the big like Morning Star useless
mace.
thing, which was just like, wow, you didn't even use it. You
And that was
tried
in
to
the
use it.
3-person.
Oh, let's. Why? So I made a note of this. Why? There's a 3. Okay, it's hard enough to drift with 2 people. Now you're drifting with 3 people.
Yeah.
One of those people is Amara, who's never drifted before.
Yep.
And what exactly is the third person doing? Apparently,
gunner.
she's just the gunner. Yep. Why do you need a separate gunner if you're running a machine that runs off your brain?
I know.
Why can't you just go, hold on, I'm going to think about the cannons now?
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
it made me mad. Oh, I thought that the Jaeger attack was a drone. I thought it was the Asian, was Shao doing it, but we find out later that it wasn't. And it was actually basically a drone, but being run by kaiju.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But like, how did Charlie Day's character do all of this with nobody noticing?
I know,
in
for
10 years? 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years, and nobody has caught on at all.
And also, when Jake and Nate are in Australia for the promotional smile and wave thing, and they're being carried in by these F-18 jets or whatever. Why haven't they drifted and connected to Gypsy Avenger by then? Because it drops them down and then they start drifting mid-drop and then Jake's like, oh fuck, I haven't drifted in a while, and is gaining his balance. Why aren't you already connected and ready to go?
And on top of that, he's in the dominant side.
Yeah.
And he hasn't drifted. He's like, it's all coming back now. I'm like, huh?
Nate's like, we're gonna fucking die.
Well, this just seems like you would do a trial run first.
Yeah,
Jake, when was the last time it's been 10 years? Okay, we're going to give you
Oh, yeah, get in the dominant seat. For sure, bud.
But don't you think we should try it out first? Nope, you're good.
Nope.
Go to the meet and greet.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Also, when Kaiju morphed Jaeger is attacking, nobody questions, hey, that doesn't look like a scrappy, shittily built Jaeger from a bunch of different parts. That looks like a government Jaeger. Weird.
Yeah.
Why is a government Jaeger rogue? Nobody questions it.
Well, and right after that, Charlie Day's talking to Shao, and she's like, the government has given me permission to get the drone thing going.
Because
we have 48 hours.
died.
Make it happen. That's right, because Mako got taken down. But it's like, make it happen. 48 hours. I'm thinking, has nobody questioned her and said, wait a minute, where did this rogue kaiju, where did this rogue Jaeger come from? Is it one of your drones?
There's motive because Mako was gonna not allow it. And then her helicopter goes down. And then Shao is, chop, chop. We have 48 hours to do this. It's very conspiracy loaded and very... her motive is there and nobody's looking into it.
Yeah, not one person's like, wait a minute, hold on. Let's question this person because this doesn't seem right.
No.
I don't get it. Ugh.
So then Newt goes home and he is talking to Alice. And then we find out it's the kaiju brain and he kept it from the first one and has been constantly drifting with it. And I want to know if he was possessed right after he and the other guy drifted with it in the beginning.
I think so. Because once it got to the end of the movie, I thought, oh, that makes sense that he was drifting with this brain because it's the kaiju part of him that's drifting with this brain.
Yeah.
It's not Newt. It's not him, the human part of him that wants to do this. It's the other part that has been in him. Because even his buddy, the British scientist or whatever, I can't remember his name.
Kane.
Herman? Yeah.
Yeah, Herman.
Kane guy. He even says like his mind got possessed when we drifted years ago.
Yeah.
But his didn't. So I guess there was one they drifted with. It got into Newt and didn't get into Herman.
So he's been possessed for 10 years. So he's been consistently drifting with this kaiju brain for 10 years. What I don't understand is in the first one, when they drifted and they got the kaiju plans and they thought that they were going to win, they realized, oh shit, the drift goes both ways. So we saw what the kaiju were doing, but the kaiju saw what we were doing too.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why our plan failed. So this whole time when possessed him is drifting with the kaiju brain, you know, yes, the kaiju can see what he's doing with Shao and all that, but, you know, you see little pieces of Newt coming out when Herman's, you know, like, you can fight it. And he's like, no, I can't. I'm not, you know. You would think that in those brief moments of clarity, he might, you know, write down or tell someone, oh my God, this is what the kaiju are doing. They're trying to get to Mount Fiji, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, there was no, and even with that knowledge going both ways, that would mean that the kaiju would be totally prepared for everything that the humans had prepared to fight them with.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah.
Because the kaiju would be like, nah, we already know you have drones. Nice try.
Exactly.
Yeah, we already know that you're going to try this. Nice try.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense either.
I know.
This movie.
Isn't this a good pick?
Oh my God. So, all right.
So they go to Siberia with Gypsy of Anger.
That's right. And this is right after Amara fights Victoria.
Oh my God.
And
yeah.
she's a little ass kicker. Where'd she learn how to fight? And there's another thing, too.
On the street.
Yeah. I learned that on the street, she said. I'm like, who taught you? Is it your jujitsu teacher? Come on. And then right after that, there's, oh my God, how many speeches were there in this movie? So this is like Eastwood comes in and he's like, hey, listen up, blah, blah, blah. Here's a speech. I'm like, okay, that's the first one. Tick. Mm-hmm. Yes, and then they go to Siberia. Why did they go to Siberia again?
Because Mako's last message was an old Jaeger place in Siberia.
That's right.
Why the fuck wouldn't they bring backup? They just got attacked by a rogue Jaeger, and they're going to Siberia to check out Mako's last message, and they don't bring backup.
Seems kind of careless.
Okay.
This whole movie's careless.
True.
I love that. Again, back to the physics of the Jaegers, because they're fighting. I love how they can rotate their torsos.
Yeah.
Their arms can move individually. Their legs can't. Like, there's just so many moving parts. There's so many potential places where these things could fuck up. Mm-hmm. They don't make any sense to me.
And
they're too big, and they're also too fast.
Yep.
They just defy all logic and physics.
Yeah, and gravity. And their gravity gun.
Well, they can jump and slide and roll and kick and no, they're gigantic robots. They
do a
can't
fucking
move like
roadhouse kick.
Basically.
Yeah.
You can't move like that. Then we find out that this is where so they beat it and they find out it's actually half kaiju and half Jaeger.
And they take it back. Mm-hmm. And then Amara and a few other people go to look at it.
Oh, yeah. And how did they get in it so freaking easy?
I know.
Like they just they wander right in.
Yeah, they weren't. And this is another classic situation of just adding stuff to build the tension. You know, they go in there so easily. It's not guarded. And one of the guys that we don't really know about, because the only recruits we get to know are Vic and Amara. Mm-hmm. That's it. One of the guys gets the kaiju blood on him and it burns him. And then Amara gets removed from the program, but none of the other people that snuck in there with her did. Yeah. And the people who were supposed to be guarding the Jaeger kaiju weren't doing their jobs, but Amara, the 13 or 15-year-old, is taking the heat for everyone and gets kicked out of the program after they sought her out for building her own Jaeger.
Yeah, that seemed kind of strange. and very, very quick.
Yeah,
Like,
they were just like, no, fuck her, she's done.
Yeah, you'd want to be like fighting for her to stay in.
Yeah.
And I don't understand this either. They're in there, he gets blood dropped on him, and he's like, I'm burning. And he just lays down, and they're like, go get help.
Yeah.
Like, your legs aren't burned.
Yeah.
Fucking walk out of there.
I know.
Well, go find help. Get out of there and say you got burned by something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she's locked up. We get another speech. Now it's a Jake speech. He's in there like, oh, this is where he talks about, oh, my dad was this and blah, blah, blah. And I wish I could have drifted with him and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, God, there's just too many freaking speeches in this movie.
And then she says, Shao Hardware was in the Jaeger. And we're like, oh, Shao's a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. I honestly, when I first saw this, I did not see the twist of Charlie Day being the bad guy.
That is one thing they did very well in this. I'll even say that watching it the second time, I was like, I thought Charlie Day was the bad guy.
Yeah.
What is going on? And it's not till the last 40 minutes you're like, oh, shit, he is.
So they did that very well.
And then we got another attack.
Yeah.
Because like Amara leaves, and then it's as she's leaving, she's being escorted out. That's
the
when the
drones power up.
And that's when they start opening up the breaches, right?
Yes. And
they're making a lot of breaches, and I noticed it was like super easy for her to just shut them all down. Again, one of those things.
She hacked in.
Yeah, he's been working on it for 10 years, and he's got the technology.
And she's just like,
she's like, oh, I'm in the, I've dropped through the back door. Bam. Done. But they let 3 kaiju in, 2 category 4s and a category 5.
And here's where my point is. I love how many breaches were opened all over the world, and the 3 kaijus that got in were in the China Sea, Japan, and somewhere else close to them.
Exactly where they needed to be.
Yep. It's not like one showed up in the Todd Inlet and was like, fuck, I got a long trek. Damn it. Why couldn't Jerry all the way in Japan have gotten let in?
But these things are like, how big are let's say the Jaegers are like 700 feet tall. The kaijus are bigger.
Yeah.
So let's say they're a kilometer tall. Like, let's say they're 1,000 meters tall.
Holy shit.
Maybe not that tall. They're
maybe
500 meters tall.
Yeah.
So they're like the length of a running track and a bit.
Yeah.
Tall.
Yeah.
So they can cover a lot of ground every step, which means they can go long distances pretty fast. And so no matter where they are, it's like, they're going to get to wherever they need to go pretty quick. Because they're fucking gigantic.
And some of them have wings.
Some of them can swim.
Yeah.
Like they can just jump in the water. Like, all right, let's get there, because we've seen that in the first one.
So during this whole fight, I also had a point that no one was seeming to notice that the drones were half kaiju. Nobody was noticing. They had kaiju claws. They had kaiju veins and blood.
Were all of the drones? Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Nobody noticed.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Like 10 years. 10 years, nobody goes, hey, that looks weird.
What the hell?
What is that?
And there was a little Easter egg in there that I loved when Charlie Day is saying, he has a back door, blah, 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 and then reveals that he's the villain. There's a code that says LV 426, and that's an alien Easter egg because they fight on the moon LV 426.
Oh.
And I was like, alien.
Interesting. The first Alien?
I think so, yeah.
Because, the second one is on a colony.
Yeah.
Where they're mining. That's a great movie. I love that movie.
I know.
So an hour 13 in, we have a preparation montage where heavy guitar, no lyrics.
Bum, 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 bum.
This was just, I'm like, oh man.
That was finally the one good song, and that's because it was the recycled Canceling the Apocalypse riff from the first one.
I still have not listened to it. I will.
We have to
do it after this.
We should play it as the outro to our podcast.
There we go. Okay, that's what I'll do.
But the soundtrack for this is, I'm so sorry to whoever did the soundtrack for this. Please don't discredit your life's work based on my opinion. But
it wasn't Ramin.
No,
anymore?
It wasn't that Dreamboat. He did the first one. Some random guy named Lars or Lando or something did this one.
Lando.
And I'm sorry, dude, it was not good. It didn't get you feeling things.
No.
It didn't, I don't know how many times I've said this. Maybe one of our fans that notices I always say it'll compile a montage of how many times I fucking say this. But a good soundtrack always gets the viewers going. Half the time, it's scientific. If you're watching a horror movie and you cover your ears so you can't hear the music, building the suspense and making you feel those creepy things, what you're seeing isn't going to be as scary to you. They've done studies on it.
Interesting.
Whereas if you're closing your eyes watching a horror movie, you're going to be more scared because you hear it, whereas vice versa.
So if you ever want to creep out a roommate, if you have one, just turn on some eerie music, turn the lights off when they get home.
Yes. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That'd be scary.
I know. And, one of the best soundtracks, Lord of the Rings. I have it in my car. Every time I'm driving, Concerning Hobbits comes on. I'm driving around. It's summer. I'm going down Lochside. I'm by the ocean. It's green. I'm happy. I'm like, oh my God. Yes, I'm in the Shire. And then I'm driving to work and it's rainy and it's January and the Urukai song comes on and it's like, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun. And I'm like, I have to get to fucking work.
No wonder you get so wound up about work.
Yeah, it's the music's doing
Fucking
it for
listening
me.
to pump up music. I'm gonna go murder some people.
Yeah. Woo. No, that's the point of a good soundtrack. And this movie did not have it because even when Amara revealed in her memory that her family got squished, guess what? The soundtrack sucked. Didn't make me feel things.
No, just a poorly
When
assembled
Mako
movie.
died and she was in the first one, no soundtrack. Didn't make me feel things. Nothing
I
made me
kind
feel
of like
things.
she died, and I was like, oh,
She was just
oh,
like,
she died. Oh, okay.
deuces.
Cool. All right. So I made a note because this is where Nate and Jake come out, and they're wearing their pilot outfits. Look so uncomfortable.
They look so much shittier than the first
They
one.
look really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he goes like, and this is where Jake's like, normally I would my dad would give a great speech, but I'm not my dad. And then he gives a fucking speech. I'm like, God, is this speech number 3 or number 4?
Yeah.
Holy speeches. This was like a recruitment video for the Jaegers / Army. That's what I hate about a lot of these American-made movies.
Oh, yeah.
Is
like, look at Battleship.
Ugh, they're just recruitment videos.
Yep.
They're so brutal.
To be honest, though, if we ever did have a Jaeger program in Canada, which I don't know if we would because...
I am pretty sure you're going to say the exact same thing as me.
That you'd join it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I wrote that down here. I'm like, I would probably sign up.
Yep. If Trudeau was like, oh, we're going to be starting a Jaeger program.
My first question would be, can I operate it by myself?
Yeah. Give me a small one. Give me a scrapper. I'll do it solo.
I don't want to have to drift with somebody.
No, fuck
They don't want to
that.
drift with me. You don't want to drift with me.
You don't want to know what's going on in here.
So this is where they figure out, oh, crap, the kaiju are going to Mount Fuji, and we need to get there faster. And then they're like, hey, Herman, didn't you
Are
say
you
something
going
about
to
the...
put some rocket boots on these?
Can you propel these things a little faster? So they strap them on there, and I was laughing because I'm like, this is the alternate ending. The rockets fail, explode, the Jaegers
all
blow
die.
up. They're like, shit. Now what? Then the kaiju blow up the planet.
Yep, and that's
No,
it.
what do you-
Finn.
I had a question. Like, so their blood reacts with certain things, and
Yeah,
just
like
just
different
explodes?
sulfurs. Yeah.
So this
Phosphorus.
kaiju was totally cool with just walking there and be like, don't worry,
Kamikaze mission.
I'll blow it up.
Yeah.
You'd figure if these are like conscious thinking beings.
Well, yeah, because it was piloting that Jaeger.
Yeah.
And it was drifting with new.
Like you would think that they're smart.
they have a contingency plan so they don't die.
Yeah.
No.
So one of them is just like, he drew the short straw, I guess. He pulled the
Yeah.
struck match. He's like, shit, I gotta go blow myself up
Damn
in
it.
Mount Fuji.
Well, the 3 of them did. And then here's what I didn't like. And
Wait, did they combine? So they
Yes.
combined?
yes, that's what happened. There were the 3 kaijus and
Oh, they all get to town super quick, I
Yep.
might add, as well.
Yep.
But that goes back to my point of they're huge and they can cover a lot of ground very quickly.
so the 3 kaijus are there. And then Gypsy, Avenger, Athena, Phoenix and
I love that you actually remember the names.
Yeah.
I just remember Gypsy Avenger. That's it.
Athena, Saber Phoenix, and fucking I forget. I'm just gonna call the fourth one.
Yeah.
Tra-la-la-la-la.
Yes.
They're all getting ready to go, and then the Russian dude in the Jaeger, he starts playing the tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Oh.
And I'm just like, why couldn't you take this movie as seriously as you took the first one?
Different director.
This one, you can tell it was geared to a more younger audience.
It was.
And so they get there and they're fighting. And this is exactly why you don't let kids who have never finished their training fight in a Jaeger. You don't. You know, they're acting so cavalier, and they get one good shot on the kaiju.
COVID.
Yeah. And then the tra-la-la-la-la Jaeger is, him and the other guy are like, ha ha, run, that's right, run.
Oh, yeah, because it goes underground. It's like, we got them. These aren't so tough.
Yeah. Are you dumb? Yeah, you are. You're a child.
So when they're fighting this one, because the three have combined. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, the three kaiju have combined into one. And at this point...
so because the little aliens come out too.
Yeah, that's...
So they jump on... Okay, so three combined, and then those ones add on to the combination of three?
They're called Rippers. Mm-hmm. So they're deployed, and they're like robots, little nanobots with kaiju-infused DNA. And they're running to the kaiju, and what they're doing is they're ripping apart at the seams the three kaiju and forming them together to make the one big one.
I see, because that was a little unclear. I was
Yeah.
like, I think that's what's happening, but I'm not sure.
For me, this went from the really cool original idea of giant Godzilla-like monsters fighting robots into, okay, it's the Power Rangers.
Yep, that's what someone said it was a grown-up Power... No, not even grown-up Power Rangers. Just a Power Ranger ripoff.
Yeah. The kaiju, three of them formed together to create one, and I'm like, oh, it's a reverse Power Ranger situation. And then in the three-person piloted Phoenix, Vic drops down and starts gunning. And I'm like, yep, it's Power Rangers mixed with Transformers.
Oh, in the midst of all this, I made a note that they've said save the world about 7 times by this point.
Yeah.
It was getting really annoying. Like, we got to go save the world.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to save the world. I can help you save the world. Like, shut the fuck up.
I know.
Stop saying that.
No.
It sounds stupid.
Yeah.
So, I made a note of this too. When they're fighting this giant kaiju, I think it's Gypsy Avenger, punches the kaiju. The kaiju catches the punch. Then it's like, and it goes like a 10, 15 second long view of the energy going through the kaiju into its hand, and then it punches it back. I'm like, what were you doing the whole time?
I know, just
it was holding your
watching.
hand. Yes.
Yeah.
Pull out your fucking sword.
Right?
Chop its arm off.
Yeah.
Chop its head off. You could have done anything.
Yeah.
Stab it. Do something.
Or even get your gravity gun and be like, But they were like, what is it doing?
And they start dragging buildings onto it. And those buildings are falling exceptionally fast.
Yeah.
So I guess that was the gravity gun, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pulling that shit off.
And then everyone is, feeling shitty because nothing's working. And the middle finger troll kaiju fighter, Jaeger, the Russian kid and the other guy decide to go after it. And Jake is saying, stand down, stop it, don't run after it. That's an order. And the Russian kid is like, I got this.
Gets swung around like a rag doll through the entire city.
And then...
Meanwhile, thousands of people are probably dying.
Oh, that's one note I made, because you saw so many people running away and getting crushed and not making it to those kaiju pods that went into the ground. And then Herman says everyone is in underground shelters.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
good to take off. No, they're fucking not.
Yeah, not everybody. You killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
So all the little aliens come, they jump on there, blah, blah, blah. They get their asses kicked. And
And
Oh, yeah,
Nate
I made
kind of
it-
gets stabbed.
Yeah, I made a note
Or
of.
grazed.
I hope those pods that they're in are like full of secure foam or something.
Yeah,
because
right?
they just hit the ground hard.
Yeah.
They don't go up in the air and eject a parachute. They just fucking fall.
They just dome into the ground.
Okay, but it looked like they're in some sort of weird stasis field or something when they go in there.
Yeah.
But so
That's
this
not
is
explained.
at this point, yeah, Buddy's stabbed, Nate's stabbed, and Jake's trying to operate Gypsy Avenger by himself. And Amara's like, "Hold on, I'm gonna come and help you." And she's like, "I'm gonna jump." She doesn't get anywhere near where she's supposed to go. What if he didn't catch her?
Yeah. What
she's
if
just dead.
Yeah. What if Nate didn't wake up and Jake couldn't have the brain power?
And then they send Scrapper because then Shao shows up. She's like, "I got something for you." She's in Scrapper.
Little Scrapper.
Scrapper falls out of the sky, hits 5 buildings on the way down, just destroying shit.
Yep.
Like, I wonder if there's some sort of budget in there for like fixing. Well, obviously there isn't. They haven't fixed
No.
shit all this. So that's just like, we don't give a shit if we wreck anything. You break stuff, it's fine. Don't
Fuck
worry about
it.
it. She's just trashing the city on her way in.
I know. And
I-
she's like, my company won't help.
Yeah, I'm rich, but I don't really care.
Fuck you.
So this thing is on its way to Mount Fuji. It's almost there. Again, it's like 3 kilometers away.
Yeah.
And so it should have got there
In a second.
No problem.
Yeah. And at this point, Gypsy Avengers, the robot's face shield is gone because it got stabbed
Yes.
through. And I'm thinking, if they're shot into the atmosphere and then coming down, wouldn't they literally burn up because nothing's protecting them?
Yes, because I just watched. What did I just watch? Oh, it was the episode 2 of History 101. It's all about the space race, and they say that upon re-entry, you can reach temperatures that are half the heat of the sun.
Yep.
It's like so you would just be vaporized.
Yeah.
Nobody would be alive in that giant Jaeger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like my second last note. I also put we got to save the world again. Because
8
that's as they're
times.
falling, she's like, oh, I don't feel so bad. Why? Because we got to save the world. I'm like,
I know.
stop it.
I'm at this point, I'm rooting for the kaiju to get to the volcano quicker. And then so Gypsy Avenger lands right onto the mega kaiju and
Blows it to pieces.
yeah, in half. And then it tricks us, it fakes us out and makes it think it's alive. And they're having a snowball fight.
Because at the end of this, they're just like, oh, hey, we did it. Woo! Yeah, there's no like shock of, holy shit, we just completely trashed Japan.
Yeah.
And a lot of people died, even people that we know and friends and stuff. But
Even that one cadet in
snowball
her class.
fight. And he's like, the snow is what you're noticing. Really?
And then the little, not post-credit scene, but they have Charlie Day imprisoned, and he's saying as the possessed kaiju, we're just going to keep coming and keep coming. We're not going to stop. And then the cliche mistake, they're setting it up, obviously, for a third movie, and John Boyega is like, we're going to come for them. Not gonna lie, if that movie comes out, 100%, I will be in the theater to watch that. I love the idea on paper of finally the Jaegers going through the breach and going to wherever the kaiju come from so we can see where they come from.
They will.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Ugh, that was Pacific Rim Uprising.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it's done. I don't know. What do you rate this?
I actually pre-wrote my rating too.
Look at you pre-writing stuff.
So I'm giving this 4 mega kaijus out of 12 ice cream toppings.
Wow.
Because the visuals themselves were great. They didn't suffer between movies at all. Never once, like obviously looking at the Jaegers and the kaiju, you know they're CGI, but they're not poorly done CGI.
Mm-hmm.
I also loved Charlie Day as a villain. I loved the reveal of him being a villain. You and I can sniff out plot twists in bad movies and sometimes in good movies from a mile away, but I had no idea that was coming at all. So I'm glad they didn't go with the stereotypical, the Asian is trying to take over with the devices and stuff.
Because that's what it looked like where it was going.
Yeah, I like that Mako returned. At least one person did. Oh, I also love the fact that I learned that being non-compatible with drifting is due to like sexual embarrassment. It's such a random piece of information that nobody needed to come up with or add to the plot of drifting.
Somebody made it up though.
Yeah.
Like it's just a made up piece of information.
Oh, yeah.
Drifting isn't real.
No, but that's what I mean. Somebody was like, how are we going to make it explainable why certain people can't drift with certain people? Oh, sexual embarrassment. Done.
Yeah. It's an easy solution. I'm going to rate this 4 broken gypsy masks out of 10 Mount Fuji volcanoes. Because I'm going to agree with you on all the stuff. Charlie Day was great. The cinematics were really good. The fight scenes were ridiculous. I can't say I enjoyed those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it lacked so much. A cohesive storyline, stakes,
character
development.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really get to know anybody.
No
real backstories except for like Jake and kind of Amara, but not really.
No motivation behind anybody.
No. It was just a slap together movie like, we have to get another one out, so just do it. That's what it felt like.
And
it was an unnecessary sequel.
And also because they didn't even they mentioned Charlie Hunnam's character once, just in speaking. They didn't mention if he's alive, if he's dead, what happened.
He did. Did he die?
No.
The hell happened at the end? Oh yeah, him and Mako lived.
Yeah.
That's right. No mention of that either.
No.
Dicks.
I know.
Are you ready to draw out of this?
Yes. Time for another bad one. The perfect weapon?
The perfect weapon?
What is this?
So this is, I went 80s. I went 80s or 90s on this one. It's a movie where the guy's a cop.
Love.
He doesn't carry a weapon.
Ooh.
Because he is the weapon.
Yes.
It's a classic 80s or early 90s martial arts movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. It's I watched it when I was probably 10, so I can't remember anything about it. I just remember thinking, I want to watch. I got a bunch of like 80s and 90s stuff on my list. There's some good stuff. But yeah, it should be fun. All right, well, everybody, that's been Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, bye.
Bye.
This is real garbage.